this particular time, the meeting of the Shreveport City Council is now called to order. We're going to ask that Pastor Clifford McLean would come and give us the prayer. We're going to ask that Councilwoman Fuller would give us the pledge.
May we bow our heads. Eternal God, our loving Heavenly Father, we thank Thee for the day and for what all it means to us now and will mean and bring in the days to come. We beg forgiveness of our sins. Your love and favor be upon us. We ask your blessings now upon this gathering, upon our city, its leadership, our mayor, and our council persons. And we ask that you would bless what we do and say would be for the glorification of thy name and the gratification of our citizens. And we ask, our Father, that you would help us to be better when we leave than we were when we came. And remind us, our Father, that because you're God and you're the Father of all mankind, that makes us brothers and sisters. We ask in the name of the Christ. Amen.
Amen. Face the flag and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Councilwoman Taylor. Present. Councilwoman Fuller. Here. Councilman Nicholson.
Present.
Councilman Butler.
Here.
Councilman Jackson. Councilman Green.
I'm here.
And Councilman Bowles.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the administrative conference and special meeting Monday, February 7th, 2022, and the city council meeting Tuesday, February 8th, 2022?
So moved.
Moved by Councilwoman Taylor.
Second.
Second by Councilman Nicholson. Any questions? All in favor, let us vote. Thank you, and that passed with 6 and 1 out of the chamber. At this particular time, we are up to council members having awards recognition of a distinguished guest, not to exceed 15 minutes. Councilwoman Taylor.
Mr. Chair, it is Black History Month, as many of you all know, what I affectionately like to call as well as Black Heritage Month. Today we will be presenting 3 resolutions to 3 distinct groups that have made their mark in history, in Black history in Shreveport, Louisiana. 2 of those resolutions would be apologies from the city of Shreveport, recognizing our past, propelling to our present, and the first resolution that we will be giving would be to the Lockett sisters. Now, I could say many things about the Lockett sisters, Kim and Keandra Lockett. They have a clothing line that is featured in Target. I want you all to give them a round of applause because that is huge. In honor of Black History Month, Jolie Noor, which means pretty black, is one of the lines that is featured in all of the Target stores throughout the United States. These original designers are from right here in Shreveport, Louisiana, and this is our present. Because of the steps regarding the civil rights movement that occurred in the past, these young ladies are able to be featured in department stores that otherwise we would not be able to enter. So I want the clerk to read the resolution for the Lockett sisters, and after that time, I would like for them and all of their supporters to come forward to receive the resolution from the Shreveport City Council.
A resolution to acknowledge Keandra and Kimberly Lockett for their extraordinary talents. Whereas Jolie Noir, Pretty Black and French, is a luxury essential wear brand for women and men that is built on the belief that black is beautiful. Whereas Jolie Noir is founded by Atlanta-based blood sister Keandra and Kimberly Lockett. Whereas Keandra and Kimberly, with all their many accolades, were shocked when they received a message from Target about their clothing line. And whereas Target's Black History Month campaign, Black Beyond Measure, chose Keandra and Kimberly's collection to represent Black culture. And whereas Keandra and Kimberly grew up in the University Terrace area in Shreveport, Louisiana. And whereas Keandra and Kimberly attended Captain Shreve High School and Louisiana State University, Shreveport. Keandra also attended Bossier Parish Community College. And whereas Keandra is a #1 Billboard chart-topping singer-songwriter who has shared the stage with artists such as Yolanda Adams, CeCe Winans, Kirk Franklin, and Mary Mary, to name a few. She is also the first and only gospel artist to have a licensing deal with a top company, Kenya Doll Brand, which is an African-American brand whose mission is to empower adolescent girls. And whereas Kimberly is a celebrity fashion stylist and has been seen on various national platforms and television networks such as BET, HypeHair.com, Essence Magazine, and many more. Her personal style has been featured and recognized in many online publications and blogs such as Essence.com, 50 Fab Fashion Instagrammers, and FashionBombDaily.com. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Shreveport in due regular and legal session convened that the Shreveport City Council acknowledges Keandra and Kimberly Lockett for their extraordinary talents.
Mr. Mayor.
Just really quick, I'm going to jump in here and I'm going to have my comments later, but for the audience and everybody that's here, I went to high school with Kim and Keandra, so don't ask them any embarrassing stories, first of all. But secondly, they were such incredible spirits even in high school, just people that you knew were going to be superstars. And, my proclamation here reads similar to the one from the City Council, but with my authority as the mayor, I am proclaiming today, Tuesday, February 22nd, 2022, as Keandra and Kimberly Lockett Day in the city of Shreveport, in witness whereof I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the city of Shreveport to be affixed. So congratulations, so good to see y'all as usual.
Mayor Perkins, why you don't want them to share your stories, what I did not know is that there is someone else in this room that can share their stories, because as I was asking them about this resolution, their PR person said, "Is your mom a teacher?" I said, "Yes." So my mother taught them in school. And so my mother is here today to watch them receive this honor. And so I would ask my mom to please stand.
Good, Mama, keep the high school stories focused on them.
And so I'm going to ask the Lockett sisters to come forward, please, and I want their mother to come with them and everyone in their family to stand with them. And please offer your comments to us. We are so proud of you from the city of Shreveport, and we just want you to know that your hometown recognizes you and your contributions, and I'm still waiting for my stuff to come in.
So obviously, we're supposed to do this here, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Well, we just want to say to the city of Shreveport and #1 Tabitha Taylor, Councilwoman, let's put some respect on your name. We appreciate you for this honor. I usually, because I accept awards and things like that, but I am rather nervous right now. More so, though, for the fact that the reason why both my sisters stand here today, both my sister and I, our mom too, but the reason why we stand here today is because of our mom. Our mom is a registered nurse, and she's very fluent with business and money and things like that. But even though today Jolene is being honored, my mom is our partner, but we are wanting to give her a double honor. So Jolene is being honored by the city of Shreveport and Councilwoman Taylor, but we wanted to honor you, Mom. And there you go, your flowers. You're welcome. And Adrian, we love you. We won't say anything.
Okay.
Thank you guys so much.
Because
Thank
we
you.
want to present you your resolution. Don't move.
I'd just like to say congratulations to you all. And thank you all for reminding me that you all, when you all's group, Ziel, was starting out, y'all started out at my church, and I'd just like to make a request from you, the one with the top song on the Billboard.
Yes, sir.
Would you just sing us a verse or two of that song?
I'll sing you a little something, so let's see. Love, a word that comes and goes, but few people really know what it means to really love somebody. Though the tears may fade away, I'm so glad your love will stay, 'cause I love you, and just show me, Jesus, what it really means to love.
Wow.
Mr. Chairman, while we present these awards, you can sing yourself if you want to.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
and remembering our past, September 15, 1963 is when the bombing occurred in Alabama of the 4 little black girls within the church that died such a tragic death. On September 22nd, 1963, Little Union Baptist Church was the epicenter and where worship was being held in memory of those 4 little girls. During that time, Commissioner Dortours and others decided to ride their horse up in their church and brutally beat the late Pastor Harry Blake. It was such tragic events for our community. It propelled the civil rights movement. And I cannot speak to the tragedy or the post-traumatic stress that many felt on that day. And that when I listened to Pastor McLean speak when we had Lieutenant Governor Nungesser come down to speak about that day, it sent chills through my body. But one thing that is so tragic is that because you fight for equality, because you fight for equity, you could lose your life, and you did lose your lives. And I think that the city of Shreveport owes a formal apology to Little Union Baptist Church. And so this resolution does just that. But subsequently, after that day, on September 23rd, students from Booker T. Washington High School heard about the tragic events, and some were there at the church. And they began to provide a march down against all of the inequities and the inequalities that they saw. and they were beaten, and more tragedies occurred on that day. But one of those tragedies was Pastor H. Calvin Austin, who had to stay in jail for 45 days, did not receive his high school diploma until former Mayor Ollie Tyler granted him that. No school system would take him, and he had to move to New Orleans to receive a formidable education. Students from the classes of 1964 to 1966 are in this chamber on today. And so in remembering our past that some would like to erase, you can't. But because of what you did, we, as a number of Black Americans, are able to sit in elected office because you chose to stand, because you chose to believe in equity and equality, even if it meant your life, even if it meant your education. So we don't take these days lightly. So I'm going to ask Madam Clerk to read both resolutions, and I would appreciate if Pastor McLean, the McLean brothers and their members would come to the mic first, and then the classes of Booker T. Washington would then come next.
Resolution number 17 of 2022, a resolution to offer an apology to the members of Little Union Baptist Church and their descendants for an incident which occurred on Sunday, September 22nd, 1963. Whereas Little Union Baptist Church was the epicenter of the civil rights movement in Shreveport, where the late pastor Dr. Claude Clifford McLean fearlessly allowed strategy planning meetings in terms of demonstration, sit-ins, and mass meeting. And whereas on September 15, 1963, 6 African Americans, including 4 young girls, were killed in Birmingham, Alabama, when a bomb exploded in a church where they were worshiping. And whereas, as a result of the tragic event, President John F. Kennedy proclaimed that September 22, 1963, would be a day of national mourning, and the NAACP asked that its local chapters across the country hold memorial services on that day. And whereas, on September 22, 1963, a memorial service was held at Little Union Baptist Church located at 1846 Milam Street. And whereas that day, resistance to justice and equality became a reality for all as displayed by the Shreveport City Police in an act of sacrilegious and desecration when they rode horses inside the newly renovated church sanctuary up and down the aisles, leaving a trail of horse manure before grabbing Reverend Harry Blake and savagely beating him outside the building. And whereas it has been almost 60 years since that day of infamy and the 130-year history of their congregation, members of the church who are still alive bear emotional scars from that event. The sights, sounds, and odor of that event are still vivid in the minds of members who were children at that time and were engaged in cleaning the refuse left by the horses. And whereas no legal remedy is possible and our city has made progress in the area of race relations, the city of Shreveport owes an official apology for the treatment of Little Union Baptist Church and their descendants received at the hands of officers and employees of the city of Shreveport. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Shreveport in due, regular, and legal session convened that an official apology is extended to the members of the Little Baptist Union Church and their descendants for the treatment they suffered at the hands of officers, employees, and agents of the City of Shreveport, which occurred on Sunday, September 22nd, 1963. Resolution 18 of 2022. A resolution to offer an apology to the students at Booker T. Washington High School, led by Reverend H. Calvin Austin, for an incident which occurred on Monday, September 23, 1963. Whereas, on Monday, September 23, 1963, the students at Booker T. Washington High School, led by Reverend H. Calvin Austin, conducted a peaceful march from Booker T. Washington High School down Milam Street, headed to downtown Shreveport. And whereas the students were met by Police Chief George D. Artois and a mob of armed officers on foot and in squad cars. The students were ordered back to school but stood their ground in protest for the beating of Reverend Harry Blake on Sunday, September 22, 1963. And whereas, when the children refused to turn back, police brutally attacked them with batons and tear gas. And whereas students frantically ran from officers and returned to the campus of Booker T. Washington, Police attempted to enter the school and proceeded to attack Principal R.H. Brown and several teachers as they attempted to protect the students. And whereas several students and teachers were arrested and taken to jail, among those was Reverend H. Calvin Austin, who was charged with inciting a riot, unlawful assembly, and disturbing the peace. And whereas, after spending 45 days in jail, Reverend H. Calvin Austin was expelled from Booker T. Washington High School by the Caddo Parish School Board and was banned from attending public school in Caddo Parish and surrounding areas. Reverend H. Calvin Austin was forced to complete his school year of education in the city of New Orleans. And whereas the city of Shreveport owes an official apology to the students of Booker T. Washington High School, led by Reverend H. Calvin Austin, for the treatment they received at the hands of officers and employees of the city of Shreveport. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Shreveport, a due, regular, and legal session convened, that an official apology is extended to the students of Booker T. Washington High School, led by Reverend H. Calvin Austin, for the treatment they received at the hands of officers and employees and agents of the City of Shreveport, which occurred on Monday, September 23rd, 1963.
Pastor McLean and Little Union Baptist Church, would you please come forward?
Mayor Perkins and council members and fellow citizens, I've asked that these two young ladies, they're twins, Rutha and Rosa Washington, Rosa Robinson and Ruth, I think I've got the name straight, Rutha Washington. Their father was in charge of the facility at Little Union, and Deacon Andrew Harris. And according to Pastor Blake, who gave me a walkthrough of what happened on that Sunday, people who attended were afraid to leave the sanctuary because of the presence of so many of the police officers. And he encouraged them to go to their cars, return to their homes. And upon escorting the last group to the exit, he turned to come into the sanctuary to go to the study where my father was. And just inside the sanctuary, after passing 2 or 3 pews, you heard horses coming up the steps and entering the church. And the next thing you knew, horses and these young ladies were there there was so much horse manure. Their dad engaged them in cleaning up the sanctuary. Now this church, organized in 1892, is 130 years old. And in that year, these young ladies, well, they can tell you how old they were then. And it is still on the minds of those who were present and those who passed on. And thank you in memory of my dad and their father and all of the members who have gone to the other side for saying we're sorry and we apologize is never too late. Thank you so much. Would you ladies? All right, young man.
I just want to say thank you. I was 10 years old when this happened, and I wrote a book about this, and 90% I saw. It's still kind of trauma because I had to fight back tears. But my heart is glad because that crowd paid the price to see what I see my frat brother's mayor, no brag, a multiracial council. My prayers for Shreveport that we pull together. Dr. King said two things about this town that still ring. One, we're the second most racist city in other than Birmingham. And two, he never came back because he said, we are still divided. We cannot go forward, brothers and sisters, unless we pull together. If you put your foot on my neck, I can't move, and you sure can. And I charge you all, I'll be blessed, and to remember, I'm going to have to say this, the prophet Amos said, let justice run down like waters, and righteousness by the stream. And you all as our officials, don't dam up the water, let it flow. Because where water flows, there's cleansing and there's renewal. And as our pastor said, we thank him in memory of our father and their parents. And I can't but remember my mother just prayed this prayer, Lord, you're the only friend we Negroes got. And he's answered that. God bless you.
Pastor McLean, thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. The students from Booker T. Washington High School, Pastor H. Calvin Austin, Sharon Johnson, would you please come forward? I'm sorry, that's Pastor McLean. Pastor McLean, come back. I got caught up. Pastor Austin. Pastor Austin. And students from Booker T.
I stand before you emotionally fixed. Those pictures brought back 61 years of hurt. 45 days in the Shreveport City Jail for something that I felt was speaking against an infraction of law, against a preacher, a friend. Students, Booker T. Washington, stand up. You're in the house.
Still do.
Mayor Perkins, Councilwoman Taylor, John, my fellow laborers in this city, especially my friend Chief. That march was never about Calvin Austin. That march was against an infraction that was predicated by law enforcement. The march was never intended to be a march. It was just an informational gathering. We gathered on the back of Booker Washington. Somebody said, what we hiding from the police for? What we hiding for? we went to the front of the school and I addressed what had happened to Pastor Blake while we were gathering to commemorate 4 little black girls who had lost their lives in Birmingham, Alabama at the 6th Street Baptist Church. We had gathered that Sunday to pay homage and memorial to those girls, and the phone was ringing that they was going to bomb the church because they used the N-word that they thought Dr. King was coming. Never was going to be. Pastor Blake was assaulted. I left the information with the kids, and somebody said, we're not going to take it no more. We started down Milam Street. We got to the corner of Milam, where the Alumni building is now, was our library in Lakeside. I got arrested along with 17 other students. Stood before a judge in Shreveport and was charged with disturbing the peace, contributing to the delinquency of a minor, inciting a riot, unlawful assembly, and spent 45 days in that jail on a corner of Texas and Murphy Street. Every chief of police, every mayor that's been in this city, I said, if they ever tear it down, I want a brick. Because I spent time there. I was beaten, I was mistreated, I was abused, thinking everybody was still in jail, but I was only one. Get out of jail and was told I could not go back to Booker Washington. I was expelled. Never heard the word expelled. But these students that you see behind me, when I had to leave this city for life and education and go all the way to New Orleans to get a high school diploma, in 2004, these students, the class of 64, lobbied the Board of Education, Calipari School Board, to apologize, to rectify wrong. The State Board of Education said, oh yeah, that'd be good. We'll give him a certificate of graduation. But Ollie Tyler said no. Bernadine Anderson said no. Willie Burton said no. The State Board of Education gave me a high school diploma because of these students. I told John and Grayson earlier, I don't think there's nobody in America, and I'm probably in the Guinness Book of World Records, that have 2 high school diplomas from the State Board. But I appreciate this recognition. It has been said, if we don't tell our story, someone else would tell it. Yes. And they would tell it the way they want it to be told, but they would leave out what's important. What you're doing today is saying to the city of Shreveport, look where we are now. Correct. Look where we come from. Look at the separate fountains, the separate classrooms. I wasn't a product of integration. I didn't know what integration was until I got to college. But I experienced racism. I experienced bigotry. I experienced being called boy. I got called an N-word. Downtown Shreveport, never heard the word. Growing up in Allendale, playing around the Tumanellas and the Cat Knees and the Gigolos. That's what I grew up around. Played each other's house, ate each other's foods. And in downtown one Saturday, said in the Shreveport Sun, that's how I made my money. I made my nickel and I sold them for 15 cents. And a man grabbed me in the back of my neck at H.L. Green and called me the N-word, and I thought he had cussed me out, Chief. I had never heard that word. I was running up Texas, and Dr. Dykes was the pastor of First Methodist Church. And Dr. Dykes, Grayson, stopped me and said, what's wrong? Somebody robbed you? I said, no, sir. A man called me, so-and-so. He said, sit down, let me tell you something. You're going to be called worse things than that in your life. But don't let the words hurt you. Remember one thing, you're God's child. That's how I live every day. I don't look at y'all. I don't look at people by color. I look at your character. I look at your heart. I do what I do every day. I do what I do every day because I love my city and I love my state. And I'm going to keep doing what I do. I ran for the president of the NAACP. They felt I wasn't qualified. I didn't need them. I'm going to do what Calvin Austin can do, and I'll keep up mess if I have to. John Sell asked me when I walked up on the step, what you down here for today? I don't come to council meetings. I know what happened at council meetings, but when I come with issues that y'all I know you can handle. Thank you, council. Thank you for that. Thank you for that recognition. I appreciate it. Let me do this. This is the president of the Alumni. This is Ms. Sharon Johnson. And I would love for her to have something to say. It's not about me. It's about Booker T.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Perkins, fellow council members, Ms. Taylor, on behalf of the principal, Crystal Barnes, who she's out of town, she's traveling back, she could not be here, and on behalf of the Booker T. Washington Alumni Association, I have some of my board members here. We just like to say we accept your apology. It takes a big person to come back and say that I'm sorry. And Tabitha, thank you so much for thinking of us and thinking this incident was worthy, because these people still bear the scars. Going forward, this is our city, and we have to band together, arm in arm, step by step. And we, citizens, elected officials, we all have to catapult this city forward. So on behalf of the alumni, the current students that are, in school today, we say thank you, and we look forward to a better Shreveport. Thank you.
Yes, Councilwoman Fuller.
Thank you, Chairman.
Yes.
After talking about such tremendous moments in the history of Shreveport, it might seem a little bit trivial to talk about what we're talking about next, but Reverend Austin put it very succinctly. If we don't tell our story, someone else can write that narrative. And our next recognition is for Southern University's Museum of Art for their 20th anniversary. And that Museum of Art does tell our story. That's exactly why it's there. And I would like for the director, Ms. Angelique Feaster, and Dr. Vladimir Apining, who's the interim chancellor of Southern, to come forward now. Would you please read this resolution, Ms. Ewing?
A resolution to celebrate Southern University Museum of Art at Shreveport's 20th anniversary. Whereas the mission of Southern University Museum of Art at Shreveport is to assure that the art, artifacts, and other treasured works of Africans, African Americans, and their descendants are accessible to the community in an organized and cherished collection, and a place of historic significance on the campus of Southern University at Shreveport. And whereas it is the goal of SUMAS to provide an array of learning experiences to a variety of audiences, and to serve as a resource for diverse communities through the imaginative use of the museum and its collections. And whereas SUMAS is primarily aimed at educating the public about the history of African and African American art through the artistic, historical, and cultural contributions they have made to the American experience. And whereas SUMAS features African art from the major art-producing regions in Africa, including Mali, Nigeria, the Ivory Coast of West Africa, Cameroon, and the Congo, and includes over 300 artifacts and represents the foundation of the museum's permanent collection of African art. And whereas the museum features African American art from the permanent collection of the Southern University Museum of Art in Baton Rouge. And whereas SUMAS will celebrate their 20th anniversary on February 24th of 2022. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Shreveport, acting in due regular and legal session convened, that the City Council hereby celebrates the 20th anniversary of the Southern University Museum of Art at Shreveport.
Thank you. So to say a few words. Здравствуйте.
Spasiba. To the Honorable Mayor Perkins, to the absolutely honorable and distinguished members of this council, I bring you greetings on behalf of Southern University at Shreveport, our faculty, our staff, and our students. And we are deeply humbled and very honored by this resolution. Certainly the discussions that just preceded this particular resolution were very heavy. And I am truly honored to be a part of this community, especially recognizing the courage and leadership that is shown by this mayor and this council. That means the world to me coming from Baton Rouge. Specifically to Council Lady Fuller, thank you so much for making this. And as we say, often they refer to me as the Black Russian. I will refer to Council Fuller by saying spasiba also, which in Russian simply means thank you. I also would be remiss if I did not ask Dr. Angelique Feaster-Evans, who's done a remarkable job with this museum, to come forth and just share a few words. And I believe invitations have been extended to all of you. We have our 20th year anniversary at our downtown campus this Thursday from 6 to 7:30. And we will be honored if each and every one of you can make a point of simply dropping by for a few minutes. Dr. Feaster-Evans.
Thank you, Dr. Penning, Mayor Perkins, Councilwoman Fuller, Chairman Green, and to all of the City Council members. The great artist Romare Burton said that art is the soul of a people. And the late, great Dr. Maya Angelou said that you can't use up creativity. The more you use, the more you have. And for the past 20 years, Southern University at Shreveport and the Southern University Museum of Art at Shreveport has been dedicated. We have been dedicated and committed to celebrating the artistic, historic, and cultural contributions of the African diaspora. Africanity is important to our community because it speaks to the lens of the African American experience. And I want to extend another personal invitation to each of you to come and visit and look at our beautiful cultural gem right here in the heart of downtown Shreveport, located in the West Edge Arts District. For we are the only museum in North Louisiana that is solely dedicated to African and African American art in this region, and that is something for us to take great pride in. Our theme for this year, as we are kicking off our year-long 20th anniversary celebration, is celebrating the vision, creating the future. And each of you are a part of the future that we hold so dear for 20 more years and beyond to come. Thank you all so very much for this recognition, and we will continue to make Shreveport proud in the work that we do in service to our community. Thank you.
Councilwoman. Also, I'd like to congratulate you all, but before you all leave, I'd like for Ms. Rogers to have a word, because when I see her Thursday, I don't want to have any problems.
Chairman, will you join me to take a photo?
Yes.
Mayor?
Ms. Rogers is.
Hey, Ms. Rogers.
Our childhood friend, we all grew up Hollywood. Honorable Mayor Perkins, Mr. Chairman, our council, entire council, and my friend from childhood, City Attorney Latier. There's not much left to be said. Certainly, Dr. Penning echoed the feelings and sentiment, not only of those of us standing here, but I believe everyone in the room coming behind that which has already gone before us. It's truly an honor and a privilege, not only to have been raised in the shadows and sit under the shade tree of that which those who have gone before us have already shaken the tree for us and laid the foundation. It's an honor to be a part of this great institution, this wonderful university of Southern University at Shreveport. You all show such great support for Southern University. We are your African American Museum of Art.
for the city of Shreveport and beyond. And thank you so much for this honor.
Go Jaguars.
Where do you want me?
Yeah. All right.
Any other council members have any guests?
I have one.
Councilman.
Sure. I'd like to call up Reverend Perry Pugh and have the clerk of council read Resolution 22, please.
A resolution to dedicate the 700 block of Pujo Street in honor of Charlie F. Williams for his commitment and contributions to the Cedar Grove community in the city of Shreveport. Whereas Charlie F. Williams was born on June 29, 1934, in Frierson, Louisiana, and passed away in August of 2021 at the age of 87. And whereas Charlie F. Williams began his ministry in 1961 and served as pastor of the Mount Olive Baptist Church for 50 years. And whereas Charlie F. Williams performed many duties to the community, he dedicated babies to God, performed marriages, hosted revivals, comforted members during the loss of loved ones, and married young and mentored young ministers. And whereas Charlie F. Williams served with honor, integrity, pride, and steadfast commitment to God. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Shreveport in due legal and regular session convened that the mayor on behalf of the city is authorized to dedicate the 700 block of Pujo Street in honor of Charlie F. Williams for his commitment and contributions to the Cedar Grove community and the city of Shreveport.
Thank you. Would anyone like to say anything?
Good evening, council. I'd like to thank you, Mayor, Mr. Whitehorn, all the councils that's together, and everyone that's assembled. We'd like to just say thank you from the bottom of our heart, from our pastor, C.F. Williams. He did able to minister to others, help the neighborhood, and he did it on a consistent basis, and he did it for 50 years. So we just like to take our hats off to thank y'all for thinking of us, to show an appreciation to the neighborhood and everyone that's live in that area that appreciate to everything that y'all have did on his behalf, him and his family.
We'd like to say God bless you to all our Mayor Perkins and these council members and women. Thank you all so much for entertaining our request. God bless you.
Thank you. I have something for y'all as well.
Okay.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Councilman. Thank you all. God bless you. God bless you, Councilman. God bless you, Mayor. Thank you. Mr. Mayor, while you're getting ready for your awards or recognitions, we'd also like for you to make a request that today would become a holiday. Today is Don Hobden's birthday.
Mr. Hobby in the audience.
We should light up the bridge in his honor.
Nah, that's what I was gonna say. We got him coming to the bridge. He my special guest for the bridge ceremony.
That was
Exactly.
We'll light the bridge in his honor.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he is. Yeah, he knows. We've been talking about it. He's my special guest for the bridge ceremony. Afternoon, everybody. A couple announcements. The crew of Centaur, the city of Shreveport, and partnering agencies hosted a very, very successful parade for thousands of spectators over the weekend. The Shreveport Police Department reported no incidents. We should give ourselves a round of applause for that. I want to quickly thank our partners as well. The Caddo Parish Sheriff's Office, Louisiana State Police, and the City Marshal's Office worked together to provide security. And SPD's auxiliary officers played a vital role in supporting law enforcement agencies. And a quick plug for the auxiliary officers, our auxiliary officer program is expanding by the day. We just went and had a graduation ceremony for about a dozen new auxiliary officers. For those of you who don't know what that is just citizens that are volunteering their time to help out the Shreveport Police Department. And we're doing everything. They're doing everything from administrative work to manning traffic lights, directing traffic, you name it, but they work big events like the Mardi Gras Parade. So if you got some free time, you want to keep your neighborhood safe, you want to keep things orderly, please sign up for the auxiliary police. The same group will staff the crew of Gemini Parade this weekend on Saturday, February 26th, so hope to see you all there. Next, Property Standards is holding its next sweep in District B on Wednesday, February 23rd. Citizens can bring trash, debris, and tires for disposal to the Highland Center at 511 Olive Street from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. In the event of rain, it will be rescheduled to Wednesday, March 2nd. Next, we've already talked about this, but today is February 22nd, 2022, 2/22/22. And will mark a new chapter for downtown Shreveport. The Texas Street Bridge, also known as the Long Island Bridge, will be transformed to the Bukowski Bridge of Lights tonight. A celebration to mark the occasion will kick off tonight at 5:45. So I hope to see a lot of y'all there as well. And lastly, I want to invite up two guests. We will have a presentation from Michael Lamons and Tom Cobb with CGI Digital to discuss a partnership with the city of Shreveport and our local businesses.
Mayor, thank you for having us. The rest of the council, thank you for giving us a few minutes here. So Mike and myself, we work for CGI Digital, and we're putting together the community video tour for the front page of the city's website. And so CGI, we've been partnered up with the United States Conference of Mayors and the National League of Cities for years, and we've done a little over 4,000 different types of these video tours for municipalities across the United States. And so what we're going to do is just show you a completed project we've done. It's going to be very similar to the video tour we're going to have on the city's website, and this is down in Slidell, Louisiana.
So the purpose of our video tours is to introduce people to the community, no matter where they're at, especially with the new Amazon facility coming in. That's new jobs that are coming to the area, and that's going to bring new residents. With new residents comes new businesses and comes growth. We want to show what this community has to offer, why it's a great place to live, work, start a family, start a business. And obviously, if people are from outside the area right now, they're not here. They can't walk through the streets and see what the community is like. So that's what we want to put in these videos. Our company provides all the production. It's all in-house, so script writing, production, editing, videography, the whole 9 yards. But it will be on the homepage of the city's official website. It will be on social media. It can be shared by anybody. But this is how it will look, and I'll have Tom go ahead and click in. And we'll let you guys watch a few seconds of this to see an example of what Mayor Perkins will be doing on camera, what we'll be doing to highlight the community.
City of Slidell. I'd like to take a moment to tell you about a few of the things we love most about our community. Slidell is a great place to live with low crime rates and one of the best public school systems in the state. We have both a nationally accredited fire department and police department. Our citizens and visitors enjoy a great quality.
We won't make you guys learn about Slidell too much. But we do 60 to 90 second video chapters for each one you see on the left-hand side. Of course, these will be tailored for Shreveport. You guys won't have any Team Slidell videos going on. But we want to promote the community, like I said, so we also include local businesses, local organizations. We're working with people like the Rotary, the Providence House, Dress for Success. As many nonprofits as you can think of, we include them. We want to make sure they're involved with this, but we also include local businesses, like I said. So around the outside, you'll see logos. Our job with this is to do community outreach, reach out to locally owned businesses, the key players in the community, the people who make Shreveport what it is. All types of different businesses that will represent you guys when we send this out to new residents and people looking into the community. When somebody's going to move, the first thing they need is like a real estate agent. They're a new insurance agent. Things that are going to help them out in their new home. And that's what we want to introduce them to with the local businesses here. So I'll have Tom click on our logo. We do the same production team actually works with each of the businesses that we're highlighting as well to give them their virtual handshake. So the reason that we're in town is just to do this community outreach. So we'll be reaching out to businesses out over the next couple weeks and just introducing them to the program and what the city's doing and how we can introduce them to new residents. But that's about it. Does anybody have any questions? Awesome. Well, we'll be doing this production over the next few weeks, and hopefully you guys will get to check them out. And hopefully the next 1 or 2 months once these go live. But we'll be keeping you guys up to date, and I'm looking forward to seeing the final product.
Thank you again for having us.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, you
Mr.
have
Chairman,
any
that
other communication?
I don't have anything. That concludes my remarks. Thank you.
Thank you. Reports. Does any member have any concerns related to property standards? Mr. Green? Any member have anything for Mr. Green?
See you tomorrow morning. That was me. See you tomorrow morning.
Say it again?
I'll see you tomorrow morning.
Okay.
Thanks.
Anyone else?
No, I already sent my list.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Green. Mr. Clark, do you have a master plan report today? No? Has everyone received their budget, actual financial report? I'm sure. Public hearings, there's none. Today we will hear public comments. Items on the agenda are non-item agenda. And Councilman Bowman will control the time and the calling of the individuals.
Sammy Mayor.
Sammy Mears, 1901 Centenary Boulevard, Shreveport, Louisiana 71101. I think it's a wonderful idea to celebrate the 20 years of anniversary for the Southern University Art Museum. They probably started back in 2002 and made it all the way through the 20 years, making it through to 2022. I do agree that today, on this day and date, as you pretty well figure, 2/22/2022, let's do this. Let's celebrate the great, fantastic, exciting anniversary of 20 years for the Southern University Art Museum. I know what it feels like because I used to go to the R.W. Norton Art Gallery a long time ago, and I visited there, and they showed the America the Beautiful, and one of my favorite pictures that I like the best was From Sea to Shining Sea, and it always will be. Anniversaries are always important, even if they're birthdays. They should not be ignored nor overlooked. That's the reason today, on this date of 2/22/22, that I had to talk about this, celebrating the situation here. Not to be overlooked, it's very important and very vital. And as a PSA, Church of the Holy Cross will be starting on March 9th through April 6th their soup lunches during Lent for $5 on 5 Wednesdays. So come if you can, and I have a little surprise. See this replica Super Bowl ring that I brought with me? And Grayson, that's what I was trying to tell you earlier, as well as I told Tabitha. And Alan, I hope you can see it too. I had to show this because over at First Baptist Church of Shreveport, they gave Super Bowl cups out and replica Super Bowl rings, and I would not let this slip by me. I have something to honor.
Jody Fortunato.
I should have known.
Good afternoon. My name is Jody Fortunato. I'm from the law firm of Cosich, Sumich, Parciola, and Taylor. I'm here with Mr. Shante Wells of Wells in Washington. And if y'all have any questions, I'm glad to answer them. But I may have prematurely filled out the form. We're item number 25.
Mr. Chairman, is this the legislation concerning the bond refinancing? Which law, I'm sorry,
No. Number 25.
Diverted my attention. What is the legislation concerning?
Good afternoon, Council. Shante
Hey,
Wills.
good afternoon.
2018 Crestwell, Shreveport, Louisiana, 71104. To the chairman and council, the legislation actually deals with investigating whether or not there is a claim that is available to the city of Shreveport in reference to the airport and some chemicals that may have possibly come into contact with the soil. And what he'll be able to explain it.
Again, Jody Fortunato, I've submitted a card. So our law firm, together with Mr. Wells' law firm, represents municipalities and public water providers around the country in what's called PFAS litigation. We have an MDL that's based in federal court in Charleston, South Carolina. And we represent, in Louisiana, we represent right now England Development District, Iberia Parish Airport Authority, the New Orleans Lakefront Airport, Calcasieu Parish, the cities of Ruston and Monroe, and the New Orleans Aviation Board that controls the New Orleans Airport. And what we're looking to do for the city of Shreveport is to determine exactly where AFFF has been used. AFFF is firefighting foam. Firefighting foam exists to put out an airplane fire. And thankfully, airplane fires don't occur very often, but what does happen all the time, and what's happened for decades around the country, is firemen and airports with firefighting crews have trained with AFFF. And AFFF, which was produced mainly by 3M, but also by DuPont and others, contains some forever chemicals that last forever in soil and groundwater. And we're looking to provide solutions to remediate the existence of those chemicals should we find that they exist here in Shreveport, where you've used firefighting foam in the past. And we're suing 29 manufacturers of that foam to get you back where you need to be and get your water clean and get your land clean.
And for the record, we're only asking at this point to be able to investigate as to whether or not there is a claim.
What is the status of the MDL? Have there been test cases tried? I mean, is liability for this established?
Yes, sir. Yes, Mr. Councilman. So about a year ago, there were 10 bellwether cases, of which our firm, together with Barron and Budd, represented 5 of the bellwether plaintiffs. Those have been moved to 3 cases, of which we represent 2 of the 3. The one I've been working on the most is the city of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and that, along with 2 other cases, are in the running to go to trial in the MDL in January of '23.
Well, look, my only thought when I read this legislation is that I have seen contingent fees approved for 25% in the past. I know that's something that's a point of negotiation. You and Barron and Budd certainly are the right lawyers to pursue a claim of this nature. But I would be interested to know what agreements you have with other governmental entities in Louisiana, and if they're all paying a third, I'd like to know that. If they've agreed to a lesser contingency, I'd like to know that as well.
Okay, we'd be glad to. Thank you. We'd be glad to have that discussion.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Alan Organic. Correct me if I said that wrong. Okay. Chuck Mahan.
Good evening. I'm Chuck Meehan, 254 Atlantic Avenue. I'm representing Volunteers of America. And I'm here representing, I have 10 or so coworkers who I like to say do the real work, working directly with the consumers and clients that Volunteers of America currently serves. And those are children and families trying to work their way out of poverty. Homeless veterans, people with disabilities, and senior adults are primarily who we serve. I'm here to speak in favor of ordinance or resolution 8, is it? Councilwoman Taylor. Volunteers of America has, in recent years, those groups that I described, that's who we concentrate on, but for all of those groups, we are working to expand housing opportunities. And we currently are working with over 300 consumers in our geographic area in housing. And we've been working for years in partnering with the city, with Bonnie Moore and her team, to acquire property that we could develop housing. And we're working with the Brown Taylor Group as our partner in this. And we've really zeroed in on the Allendale area to acquire property so that we can develop single-family housing. Volunteers of America is also the human service, or what the Department of Housing and Urban Development refers to as the people lead, human service lead. And just to put a face on this, when they began taking applications for housing, immediately there were 900 applications for the choice neighborhood housing. We want to really provide opportunity that at the end of the day, I really wish I was here talking to you about a concentration on home ownership, but that's somewhat down the road. But what we're working here to develop in partnership with the city, should this be approved, and with other groups, to concentrate on women with children, with families, and with senior adults to provide safe, quality housing in the Allendale area. So again, Councilwoman Taylor, thank you. Once, if approved, and once we begin our pursuit of funding and whatnot, as we promised in our meeting, our Zoom, unfortunately, meeting, is that we will get back with you and groups to really have input on the type of housing. But we're looking at multi-generational, single-family housing in the Allendale area.
Thank you, Mr. Meehan.
Thank you. Melody Wilson.
Hello, how's everyone today? I came today to voice my opinion about the Resolution 8 about donating the 1600 block of Poland to the Volunteers of America. And for the record, I say no, I don't like it. Affordable housing is all good, but what about home ownership? We've forgotten about that. Everybody that came up from the Allendale Lakeside area, which I was a part of in the 50s, we grew up there, I grew up there. Everybody owned their own homes. And I'm trying to find out why we don't seem to have representation to when ideas like this come into play. We don't think about home ownership first. We've always owned homes in that area. Now for them to come in and have affordable housing for rent, then no, I say no. That community is in bad enough shape as it is. If you go through the community, it looks like a war zone. So in order for us to have our community back up and running again, which it doesn't seem as though that's the plan, we would have to have affordable housing in more than one unit. We would need 3, 4, 5 bedroom homes, and so we can start our community back up. And I just want to know, I'll let you know for the record that I'm opposed to the whole thing. I like I say, I grew up in the area, and I've always known that everybody in that area has owned their homes. Now it seems as though that all the homes now are set for blight, whereas they let them go down to the point where of no return. No one is giving out any money. I know it's bond money coming through here. No one is giving any money for home improvements in that area. So all the homes in that area are either going down, already down, or ready to be demolished. So, like I say, I just came today to voice my opinion about that. And I say, as the people, I say no. Home ownership is the key. Thank you.
And Jerry Camara.
All right, greetings, Mr. Chairman, and to the other honorable members of the council, to Mr. Mayor, and to all of his staff that are here. I'm Najuri Kamara. I serve as pastor of Restoring Broken Lives Outreach Ministries located in the Allendale community. I also am a founder and principal investigator of the Center for Assessment and Integrated Development. I do social research and policy advocacy, and then lastly, I have NMH Kamara Demolition and Abatement Services, and we're poised and hopefully we'll be able to take advantage of some of the development going on in the Allendale area. I'm here to speak on resolution number 8 that speaks to the donation of several blocks owned by the city to Volunteers of America. I'm here as president of the Allendale Lakeside Ledbetter Heights Partnership. We want to reclaim our community. We don't need to move out of our neighborhood to live in a better one. We do not need others coming in to do or think for us what we can do or think for ourselves. We do not need others to come in and do that. I'm not saying we don't need the help of others, because of course we've had several meetings with the city administration for help. But we're tired of the old status quo as it relates to community development, where the same type of poverty level economic is maintained. It's continuously repeated in our community. I believe that community development should be based on those who are there and how we see needs being met for ourselves. We want to self-gentrify, meaning we want to be the ones to bring on new things to serve our community. I know gentrification is especially noticed when race is factored in, but in this instance, it would not be the case if we're given the tools that would help us in our vision and hope to retain a successful community with minorities leading it. I'm not running away from what the downtrodden community presents at times. I'm here to try to be a part of helping to reclaim my neighborhood. We're here offering solutions for what we see. We're trying to engage the problem. We have a petition. I presented it to your clerk with over 100 names of individuals, residents, property owners, and otherwise that are concerned about this particular donation. We intend to maintain the integrity of our community with home ownership being a top priority. We need the city council to hear our voices, hear the voices of the residents, stop ignoring us and seemingly going along with large dinosaurs that have a lot of money to be able to do whatever they need to do. We do have voting power, and we'll remember your decision, but we are imploring you today that you not approve this donation to the Volunteers of America. We're not against anyone coming to help. We're not against any particular organization, but we do advocate for ourselves. We know the city is in the process of creating another pop-up market opportunity that we may be able to procure opportunity to manage that. But in that, we see a need for capacity building. If there is others that want to come in, as I heard Mr. Min say, and partner with us as we move forward, certainly we're open to that. However, we're saying today, if you're going to vote, we ask that you vote it down. The very least, postpone so that we can be satisfied with that our voice is being heard. And in closing, I will call your attention to Zechariah, the 4th chapter, 10th verse. It says, despise not the small beginnings. We're asking you to help us with the American Rescue, the American Recovery. Help us help our own community. Thank you all very much.
Marvin Muhammad.
Mark Muhammad, 2800 Hersey D. Wilson. I want to start out by thanking Councilwoman Taylor and Mayor Adrian Perkins for an apology that was long overdue. However, I would be remiss if I didn't say that it shouldn't took a black woman and a black administration to apologize for something that a racist regime did over 59 years ago. While I accept the apology, as I know Booker T. Washington and Calvin Austin did. However, 5 months later, Ann Brewster, secretary of the NAACP, was murdered in her home. And to add injury to insult, it was staged as a suicide because city officials left a .38 special in her right hand with a suicide note talking about how she was so hurt that they couldn't get more done. This is one of the reasons why with the now table Ordinance 72 of Councilwoman Fuller that we asked the NAACP to sit on the A&E committee so we can begin to right the many wrongs, historical wrongs in this city. In 1963, when these events and other events occurred, there was not one single black city representative. We didn't have one until 1978 when Hersey D. Wilson, now State Senator Greg Tarver, and the great Reverend Herman Farr, who was a past president of the NAACP, managed to finally get on the city council because of the Bull lawsuit. That ended 91 years since Fletcher C. LaGuardia was a trustee, was equivalent at that time of being a city council. So yes, we accept the apology, but this city has a lot more to do, in the face of inclusion, in the face of this city and this parish having a combined budget of over $1.3 billion that blacks and other minorities are still fighting to be a part of. I thank you for these 3 minutes, and I reserve my last 10 seconds for my next time. Thanks.
Jermaine Anderson.
Hello, everyone. I'm speaking about what's going on over there. Again, seems like a whole year of this, but I'm speaking about what's going on over there at Woodlawn Terrace. We're not under a real ownership, and folks are being evicted under this kind of ownership that's not even real legitimate, and it's never been for the last 8 months. And so what I want to know is why are these tenants being evicted under this scam and this fraudulent ownership? And it's been proven. Better Business Bureau is investigating them currently now, and it's not right. And this can't continue to go on like this because of this fraudulent scam ownership that we continue to be on the Woodville Estates LLC. It's fake. So it's being investigated currently by the Better Business Bureau in Monroe, Louisiana. So definitely we're facing injustice, not now from the living conditions still now to this kind of activity going on over there. And the people there are I guess Jewish, or they're from Muncie, New York. And this is totally unfair. It's not right. And these evictions are being allowed to go on. Oh yeah, and also they turned off multiple units, electricity, to try to get the tenants out of their units and things of that nature. So yes, definitely.
Mr. Chair.
And I would like, if whatever could be possible, for at least the evictions could be ceased for now, and that the tenants be, let us be have justice, because I have documentation, everything proven back what I'm saying. So.
Mr. Anderson.
And let me say this in closing. The NAACP.
Hold up. Councilman Jackson will speak.
Mr. Anderson, thank you for coming down here. I did receive your communications, and I will personally investigate it, and I will follow up with all the correspondence that you have with SPD. And I have your emails, and so you have the council's attention now, and we will look into it as quickly as possible to get you some resolution.
Thank you.
Okay.
I want to say, as the chair of the League of Redress.
You can't take his time. You've already.
I can't take his time?
No, sir.
You
can't take his time. Marvin, you can't take his time. Mr. Jackson is going to take care of it, and we're going to work on it as fast as we can.
If you don't mind, Chairman, I've actually been working on that.
Ma'am?
I've actually been working on that.
Yeah, Councilwoman Fuller's working on it, so Marvin, would you be respectful and let's lay right there? Thank you.
Do you have something you want to say?
Several of the evictions were overturned in Judge Sims's court. I was actually there for Mr. Anderson's. In fact, there has been opportunity to use legal aid provided by the Caddo Parish Commission, and in many of those cases, when the evictions were overturned, it was because the property management company had actually accepted the rental assistance from the parish, which meant that there was a 90-day moratorium on the evictions. But something that was said by Judge Sims in her court was, if this situation is untenable, the best thing for you to do is remove yourself from this situation. Additionally, Chairman, we talked about this, I'm working on a resolution, because what will ultimately need to happen is either an investigation by either the State Attorney General or the Department of Justice, because there are also fair housing violations potentially at this location. But the way I see it, some of the same bad actions that are happening there may be happening in other places, and if we're going to go for a whole patterns and processes from the DOJ, we probably need to survey and see how many others need to be included in that. So that's why I've held off on that legislation. Additionally, property standards could correct me if I'm wrong, but next month, those citations for environmental court will be at environmental court.
Thank you.
That's next month.
And I don't want to say anything else because it would get into people's personal business, and I don't want to embarrass anybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. May Q. Jackson.
Hello, everyone. Thank you. Let me introduce myself. My name is May Key Jackson. I am the CEO, founder of Humanity 2020 Group that powers Operation Neighborhood Reinforcement that produces crisis peer practitioners. We are dedicated to We dedicate in serving Shreveport's vulnerable citizens, and I believe that adding the first purpose-built peer intervention, patrol, and mobilizing mental health response team deploying citywide on the streets as they are capable of leaving an impact for future generation in the city of Shreveport. Operation Neighborhood Reinforcement will greatly benefit our community by lowering the rates of conflict, crisis, and promoting community togetherness. This is today, I'm a little nervous. My primary reason today, why I came here today, is for the community's concern, as well as mine, regarding the rates of conflict, crisis, and crime. I would like to leave Honorable Mayor Perkins a hand-delivered letter. I've been trying over and over again, emailing, calling, to be finished being vetted to be able to partner with SPD. We, as a group, already have funding that's stalled in the committee, Cattle Parish ARP Committee Fund, and we're wanting to lend our hand to SPD and get the relationship in writing in order for me to receive the appropriation funds out of the committee in the Cattle Parish Committee, Commission. I would like to quote Mayor Perkins, as he said, "We have adapted to every challenge and emerged stronger. Our resilience is a testament that anything is possible when effective government and willingly work together." And the reason why I'm here today, I have tried everything. Crises do not take any breaks, and I've been fighting for the crisis for the community. We have a team of drug and alcohol specialists. We have 2 peace practitioners and counselors that's ready to be deployed. I'm gonna yield back, and I'm hoping that someone will give me a call. I'm gonna leave you this letter with my flyers and my business cards. Yield back. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Ms. Jackson, is the 504 number an accurate number for you? I'm sorry.
That is correct.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Montreal Steels. Mr. Steels. I thought I saw Mr. Steels out there. He may have left. Okay. He may have left. MJ Walters. And he may have left also. Chairman, that concludes.
Thank you. At this particular time, we have the following executive appointments to be considered for the Metropolitan Planning Commission, but I'm going to ask for a motion to postpone this until we finish getting the business straight.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Bowman, second by Councilwoman Taylor. Any questions? All in favor, let's vote.
Motion carries with 7.
Thank you. There are no items on the consent agenda for introduction or to be adopted. Madam Clerk, would you proceed with regular agenda legislation?
Resolution 132, authorizing the mayor to execute an option to ground lease between the city of Shreveport and Shreveport HP Allendale LLC.
Motion to postpone.
Second.
Been motion by Councilwoman Taylor, second by Councilman Bowman to be postponed. Any questions? All in favor, let's vote.
Motion carries with 7.
Resolution 165, approving a restoration tax abatement renewal application for Venue Solutions LLC, 601 Milam Street.
Motion to postpone. Second.
Motion by Councilwoman Fuller, second by Councilman Taylor. Woman Taylor, any questions? If not, let's vote.
That motion carries with 7. Postpone.
Resolution 16, to acknowledge Keandra and Kimberly Lockett for their extraordinary talents.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilwoman Taylor, second by Councilman Bowen and Fuller. All in, with no questions, let us vote.
And that motion carries with 7.
Resolution 17, to offer an apology to the members of Little Union Baptist Church and their descendants for an incident which occurred on Sunday, September 22nd, 1963.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilwoman Taylor, second by Councilman Nicholson. Any questions? All in favor? If not, let's vote.
And motion carries with 7.
Resolution 18, to offer an apology to the students at Booker T. Washington High School, led by Reverend H. Calvin Austin, for an incident which occurred on Monday, September 23rd, 1963.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilwoman Taylor, second by Councilman Butcher. All in, if there are no questions, all in favor, let us vote.
The motion carries with 7.
Resolution 19, to celebrate Southern University Museum of Art at Shreveport's 20th anniversary.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilwoman Fuller, second by Councilwoman Taylor. Any questions? If not, let's vote.
And that motion carries with 7.
Resolution 20, a resolution to dedicate the 600 block of 65th Street at Cliff Avenue and Wallace Avenue in honor of the late Reverend Dr. G.W. Odom for his commitment and contributions to his community and the city of Shreveport.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilwoman Fuller, second by Councilman Bowman. Any questions? If not, let's vote.
That motion carries with 7.
Resolution 21, recommending the Louisiana Board of Commerce and Industry terminate Inferno Manufacturing's tax exemption, industrial tax exemption program contract number 201-899-ITE for noncompliance.
Discussion.
Motion to postpone.
Motion by Councilman Nicholson. Is there a second? Second by Councilman Butcher for postponement. Is that a question?
We did send a letter. Chief Whitehorn, can you express to the council what letter that we sent to the Louisiana Department of Commerce? And, I'm sorry, Louisiana Economic Development.
We did send a letter regarding this issue to the Department of Commerce, deferring any recommendation and decision to them that the city was not going to make a recommendation, and that we would be satisfied with their recommendation to resolve this matter.
They sent a letter to us on January 6th letting us know that the company was not in compliance. At that time, that would give Mr. Allen an opportunity to go before that board to plead his case before the Board of Commerce.
Motion on the floor is to postpone. All in favor? Vote.
We got a date to postpone, we just postpone it until
Next meeting.
next
Next.
meeting. Motion to postpone carries with 7.
Resolution number 22, to dedicate the 700 block of Pujo Street in honor of Charlie F. Williams for his commitment and contributions to the Cedar Grove community and the city of Shreveport.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Butcher, second by Councilwoman Taylor. Any questions? If not, let's vote.
Motion carries with 7.
Resolution 23, providing for canvassing the returns and declaring the results of the special election held in the city of Shreveport, state of Louisiana on Saturday, December 11th, 2021.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Nicholson, second by Councilman Bowman. Any questions? If not, let's vote.
We had a question.
There's a typo
Huh?
in this resolution.
Typo.
I wanted to point out to the council, just one singular typo on page 30.
Hold on just 1 minute. Let me get a point of order, and then we'll go from there. Do we have a point of order at this time? Is it,
For discussion here.
Madam Clerk, is it legal for him to come with the discussion in the middle of our voting?
That's up to you guys if you.
Wait, he's our counsel.
If
is
you're
that-
our attorney.
Right.
Sir.
Well, the council has a question for you.
Okay.
Excuse me.
All right, go
I
ahead.
apologize. There's a lot of numbers in this that
Okay.
y'all see, and they're just and it's because this is on the
Right,
signature
I just
page
want to be
too.
clear, yeah.
On page 30, there's a reference in the summary page of that it's proposition number 4 on page 30, so it's a reference to proposition number 5. If there's 5 propositions, it's just a typo on page 30.
Should we postpone this for correction?
I don't believe you do. I mean, you can, but it's just a slight typo.
Your bond counsel, do we need to?
I'd rather
I think we
Alright.
probably need to.
Yeah.
I'd rather
Substitute motion to
postpone.
postpone then.
Second.
Okay. We have a substitute motion to postpone. Motion by Councilman Nicholson, second by Councilman Butcher on the substitute motion to postpone. Are there any questions? If not, let's vote.
Motion to postpone carries with 7.
Now we got to vote to postpone.
No.
Motion by, huh?
We did move to postpone, Mr. Chairman. I believe it carried.
Okay, I thought you had made a substitute mo, I thought.
To postpone.
Okay, we good.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. Madam Clerk, would you proceed with the introduction of resolutions not to be adopted prior to March 8th, 2022?
Resolution 24, authorizing the employment of legal counsel to represent the city of Shreveport. Resolution 25, authorizing the execution of a legal service agreement with Washington and Wells Attorneys at Law, Barron and Budd, PC, Cossack, Summick, and Persala and Taylor, LLC, Foley, Lamy, and Jefferson, Alvidia, Kelly, and Demarest, LLC, and Stagg, Luza, LLC. And Resolution 26, authorizing the mayor to execute an act of release of a 10-foot wide utility easement in the re-subdivision of King Partition Number 2 subdivision in Section 3 and 4, Township 16 North, Range 13 West.
Thank you. Is there a motion to introduce these resolutions? Moved by Councilman Bowman, second by Councilwoman Fuller. Madam Clerk, would you proceed with introduction of ordinance on not to be adopted prior to March 8th, 2022?
Ordinance 20, amending the 2022 budget for the Street Special Revenue Fund. Ordinance 21, amending the 2022 budget for the Capital Projects Fund. Ordinance 22, amending the 2022 budget for the Street Special Revenue Fund. Ordinance 23, amending the 2022 budget for the Capital Projects Fund. Ordinance 24, declaring a public emergency in connection with the emergency repair of Stoner Forest Main located along the Clyde Fant Parkway starting just south of the Shreveport-Barksdale Bridge and ending at 70th Street, and ratifying the expenditure of approximately $3.9 million. Ordinance 25, to amend Chapter 38, Article 2, Division 8, Section 72 of the City of Shreveport, Louisiana Code of Ordinances relative to the administrative cost assessed by the city for property abatement. Ordinance 26, zoning case number 21-201-C, an ordinance to amend the official zoning map of the City of Shreveport Unified Development Code by rezoning property located on the northeast corner of Kings Highway and Thornhill Avenue, Shreveport, Caddo Parish, from RHU Highland Urban Conservation Residential District to C1 PUD Neighborhood Commercial District Plan Unit Development.
Thank you. Is there a motion to introduce these ordinances?
Second.
Moved by Councilman Bowman, second by Councilwoman Fuller. Madam Clerk, would you please proceed with ordinance on second reading and title passage?
Ordinance 8, declaring the city's interest in declaring certain land as surplus and our intention to donate certain land to Volunteers of America of North Louisiana.
So move in discussion.
Second.
So moved by Councilwoman Taylor, second by Councilman Nicholson.
Ms. Moore.
Discussion. Ms. Moore, would you come forward, please?
Ms. Moore, for the record, I want to make sure that we have accurate information as it relates to this project with Volunteers of America, because we've had several meetings as it relates to this. And during those meetings, we did not have any opposition at that time. I want for the record to reflect that this is not just rental property, that there are phases for housing, as well as that we know that there's a need in the Allendale community. We actually met in this morning discussing this particular project with other board members, giving them insight on what this project entails. So just like for you to highlight specific points as we're going to move forward with this project. And in moving forward with this project, there has been a commitment and also a cooperative endeavor agreement, if I'm not mistaken, with Volunteers of America, with the City of Shreveport, as they will include the neighborhood's interest in what they want to do as far as building these homes and building this project. What we have done subsequently over the years is gone out and reached out to the neighborhood to recognize the concept of here, what wants to be built, what wants to be recognized, and we met parallel with all of those specific demands. There is an opportunity always for various developments within the Allendale community that coincide with what the neighborhood wants. So I just want for the record to reflect the accuracy of this project, because I do not want there to be any misinformation.
With any development through the Department of Community Development or the City of Shreveport, it is our, can't hear me?
Hey, Bonnie, can you bring the mic a little closer?
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Good afternoon. With any development that's done through the Department of Community Development or the City of Shreveport, it is our policy that the developers, contractors, nonprofits must get permission from the administration, the council, and the neighborhood. We put that in all of our requests for proposals. In this particular case, we had 2 meetings, one on September 29th, the latter one on January 12th. To get input from the community. At either meeting, no one raised any major concerns or articulated any concerns, not in writing or verbally. They did ask a few questions, like whether it's going to be whether they're going to be shotgun houses. We said no. Whether they were going to address the needs of those that are disabled. We said yes. Whether there were going to be homeless persons living there. This is not a development specifically for the homeless, at no means. There will be 12 units for individuals and families. Families that reside in Allendale, MLK, throughout the city of Shreveport that desire a decent, safe, sanitary place to live. I just want to go on the record as saying that we promote home ownership. We believe that home ownership changes communities. We've done 6 developments, and through our HAPPY program, we've served over 1,000 people through that program. We've been very successful, and we have spent millions of dollars to promote home ownership. But we do also recognize that people need a place to live and they need to rent. And sometimes the market dictates that for some communities. And we're trying to work through that. And as it relates to the CEA, we have not done that, but we have made a commitment that when we do the donation agreement with any developer, that we put restriction in there to ensure that the neighborhood has the best benefit.
Thank you, ma'am. With that being said, I would ask for your support on this project.
Any other questions?
I think I do have another one from
Councilwoman.
Ms. Moore. I'm sorry.
Councilwoman Fuller?
Thank you, Ms. Moore. Thank you, Chair. In the Choice Neighborhood Strategic Plan, there is a component for home ownership, correct?
Yes.
For there to be, you got the mixed use development that's mixed income that's right here next to Millennium. And then we're basically like, if you just took a big square around the whole Choice Neighborhoods area, you're adding this here. This is going to be similar to like single family, but it'll be rental properties, it'll be smaller for multi-generational.
Yes.
And then on that same strategic plan, there is home ownership within that for single family home ownership.
Absolutely.
All encompassed in it, which is why, because the Choice Neighborhoods overlaps both of our districts, so the whole concept and the whole reason that you've gotten the attention for federal funding and grants from the first study, the first proposal, to the implementation, all of those grants leading up to actually brick and mortar activity is because of the full strategy, the full timeline, which does include home ownership.
You're absolutely correct.
Thank you.
Which further as what Councilwoman Fuller said, which leads to why we have a market analysis being done of the area. So we would know exactly what we want to put in, so we will address those pertinent needs of the community, because they do not want an influx of dollar stores, they don't want an influx of liquor stores, they don't want an influx of things that would choose to be havens for criminal activity or that would bring their value down. They want to increase the viability of the Allendale Ledbetter community, and that is what we're looking at doing.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Mr. Chairman, I'll just say,
Yes, sir.
if Bonnie Moore and Chuck Meehan say it's a good thing, it's a good thing.
All right. Nothing else, let's vote.
Motion passed with 7.
Thank you.
Ordinance 13, amending the 2022 Community Development Special Revenue Fund budget.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Taylor, second by Councilman Bowman. Any questions? All in favor, vote.
That motion carries with 7.
Ordinance 14, amending the 2022 Airport Capital Improvements Fund budget.
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Bowman, second by
Nicholson.
Councilman Nicholson. Any questions? All in favor, let's vote.
Motion carries with 7.
Ordinance 15, amending the 2022 Airport Enterprise Fund budget.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Butcher, second by Councilwoman Taylor. Any questions? Not. All in favor, let's vote.
Motion carries with 7.
Ordinance 16, amending the City of Shreveport, Louisiana 2022 Capital Projects Fund budget, appropriating the funds authorized herein.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Bowman, second by Councilwoman Taylor. Any questions? Not. All in favor, let's vote.
Motion carries with 7.
Ordinance 17, amending the City of Shreveport, Louisiana 2022 Street Special Revenue Fund budget, appropriating the funds authorized herein.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilwoman Taylor, second by Councilman Bowman. If no questions, all in favor, let's vote.
That motion carries with 7.
Ordinance 18, closing and abandoning a sidewalk dedication in the core Snowden subdivision in Section 21, Township 17 North, Range 14 West.
Motion by the chair.
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Taylor. Any questions? All in favor, let's vote.
That motion carries with 7.
Ordinance 19, a series ordinance pursuant to the general bond ordinance as defined herein, authorizing the issuance of taxable water and sewer revenue refunding bonds, Series 2022, and a total principal amount not to exceed $190 million of the City of Shreveport, State of Louisiana, establishing certain details of such bonds as required by the general bond ordinance, approving and confirming the sale of such bonds, pledging the net revenues to secure such bonds, prescribing the form, certain terms and conditions of said bonds, authorizing the use of a preliminary official statement and the preparation and distribution of an official statement, authorizing the purchase of and subscription for certain escrowed securities, authorizing escrow verification and engagement of escrow agents, and authorizing execution and delivery of a paying agent registrar agreement and providing for other matters in connection therewith, and the administration has asked that this be postponed.
We'll have a motion postponed.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilwoman Taylor, second by Councilman Nicholson. Any questions? Not, let's vote.
And that motion postponed carries with 7.
Ordinance 204, zoning case number 21-158-C, an ordinance to amend the official zoning map of the City of Shreveport Unified Development Code by rezoning property located on the southeast corner of Lagarde Street and Hawkins Street, Shreveport, Caddo Parish, from R15 Single Family Residential District to RA Rural Agricultural District.
Give me a motion.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Councilwoman Taylor, second by Councilman Bowman. Question?
Mr. Clark? Afternoon, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
I know we've done everything that we can, and still this person is still not in compliance, so I just want to do away with this.
And I would just caution us, Councilwoman, we've gone through the process of linking with animal services in the parish. And before this, we had never gone through that process. And we've gotten the horses that will remain on the property fully vaccinated and totally registered with animal services. They are monitoring the situation and will take appropriate enforcement actions if the other, I think it's 3 horses, are not removed. All you all are doing is changing the zoning from single family to rural agriculture, which it basically fits. You've helped us so much in this process because now we have a different process that we will be utilizing dealing with horses in the city. As we approach the spring and the summer, we know that horses will from some point come out of the woodworks and the trees and the weeds and so forth. But we have something to deal with them
We have a
now.
foundation now.
Yes, so we thank you for that, and we will be able to monitor that situation also and work with Animal Services to make sure that he complies.
So he has is it the Coggins test
Yes,
of the horses?
yes,
He's brought that in?
yes, he's done
Okay,
it.
so the recommendation is,
We recommend approval. It's compatible with the area, it's just open property, and he's done a wonderful job, and he's doing everything that we asked him to do. He said that there were some added expenses that he hadn't prepared for, that he's
Okay.
just having to get the money to take care of.
okay, it was so moved.
And we ain't opening the door to nothing.
No, no,
Okay.
The horses.
you got to.
Got
Get
it.
accustomed to them
Any
a
other
little bit.
questions? If not, let's vote.
And that motion carries with 7.
Ordinance 12, zoning case number 21-199-C, an ordinance to amend the official zoning map of the City of Shreveport Unified Development Code by rezoning property located on the south side of Burke Coombs Industrial Loop Expressway, approximately 520 feet east of Linwood Avenue, Shreveport, Caddo Parish, from C3 Commercial, General Commercial District to C4 Heavy Commercial District.
Second.
So moved by Councilman Jackson, second by Councilman Bowman. Any questions? Not all in favor, let's vote.
Motion carries with 7.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, is there any table legislation to be removed today from the table?
None that I'm aware of.
Thank you. We have no property standards, MPC appeals. Are there any other appeals, Madam Clerk?
There are none.
Is there a clerk report?
Yes, we received the following letters of appointment from the mayor's office on February 17th and February 18th, which are subject for confirmation on March 8th. For the Human Resources Personnel Board, Susan Evans. The Zoning Board of Appeals, Zerwood Hendricks and Clarenda Henderson. We also received on the 18th a letter for Alan Berry. To the Metropolitan Planning Commission, Chris Elberson, Gabrielle Baladeras, Rachel Jackson, Bill Robertson, Harold Sater, Windsor Andrews, Fred Moss. And then today we received an appointment letter for the Chief of Police of Wayne Smith.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, do you have any additional comment?
I don't have anything, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Does any member of the council have any other additional communication?
Mr. Chairman, I'll
Yes.
just say briefly that I think with Councilwoman Taylor's help and leadership in particular, we've had a very productive conversation about liquor stores in this city over the past year, and I have come to the conclusion that our physical separation law really is counterproductive and exacerbates some of the problems that we've been addressing. So I would like the council to consider return to that and possibly repealing it. Just I want to do it on a consensus basis. I'm not interested in bringing it up if we don't all agree, but I can't wrap my mind around why we should continue that law. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, sir. No.
I just want everybody to keep former Chairman Fleury in your prayers. He's still under the weather. I spoke with him today, so we'll all just remember him and Pat both. I think she's been under the weather as well, so.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to offer condolences to Dr. Mary Louise Wilson's family from Cook Road, prominent educator with Southern University. She passed in the last several days, so I'd like to extend my condolences and to every other family that has suffered loss.
Thank you. At this particular time, we have a request from the city attorney to go into executive session to discuss the following: the United States District Court, Western Division of Louisiana, Shreveport Division, Brian Stephen Poole versus the City of Shreveport, number 518 CV-01125. Do we have a motion to go in an executive session?
Motion. Second.
Motion by, who was the motion by? Motion by Councilwoman Taylor, second by Councilman Bowman, to go into executive session. And those of you that's in the audience may be excused at this particular time.